welcome to the segment of Morning Ride on Delta Television, Asaba, the People's Pride. We review our national dailies this morning. Of course, we have our analyst joining us, Henry Usiayo.
A very good morning to you.
So good to have you.
Henry. Thank you very much. It seems I'm blessed among women.
It's obvious, right? Okay, so we have a lot of papers we'll be looking at this morning. We have the Nigerian Tribune, the Punch newspaper, the Guardian, Tuesday.
We have the Vanguard newspaper, we have Daily Trust,
the New Telegraph.
Yes, the Nation newspaper,
yes,
Guardian and the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, we'll kickstart with the Vanguard newspaper this morning. On the Vanguard newspaper, the screaming headline here, how we've escaped assassination in Benin. The Vanguard newspaper. All right, how we escaped assassination in Benin. Obi Oyegun. That story you will find. All right, so the photo speak there shows pictures of some of the shattered vehicles from the attack in Benin. All right, so you'll find the story on page 7 of the Vanguard newspaper. We have U.S. Congress recommends measures to end Christian persecution in Nigeria. The riders are many, calls for legal reforms, improved policing, strengthening of criminal justice sector, seeks repeal of Sharia, blasphemy laws, demands programs to allow self-defense for farmers, wants audit report of effectiveness of aid support in Nigeria. These are more are the riders to that story. U.S. Congress recommends measures to end Christian persecution in Nigeria. The story is on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. All right, from the top strip of the Vanguard, these are the headlines. On page 9, phone tapping charge. GSS can't try me over casual remarks on TV. El-Rufai tells court. 6 2 billion naira damages. On page 8, Tinubu to opposition. Elections not won on social media. All right. Page 9 also has this story. President accepts Egbetokun's resignation as IGP, appoints Tunji Disu in acting capacity. And then, of course, we have on page 19, CBN cuts interest rate to 26.5%. These are the stories we are following from the Vanguard newspaper.
All right, with us here we have the Nation newspaper, and the first bold headline here says, President to team, take our scorecard to grassroots. And the writer to that story says, renewed hope ambassadors get marching order to explain government's achievements. At the top strip here, we have this one that says, Egbetokun out. Disu steps in as IGP. As IG. The writer there says why he quit. You might want to know why he quit, and that's on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. Our next story here says, federal government, U.S. House panels report catalyst for more cooperation. At the corner here, we have this one. It's a writer says, government files new charges against Ezekwome Useni family, and that's on page 4. Another writer there says, ADC Secretariat Odige Oyegun's house attacked in Benin. These and many more you can get. Please do grab yourself a copy of the Nation newspaper.
All right, let's come over to our analysis table as we have analyst Henry Usiayo. Just let's have a conversation on some of these headlines. Yes, the two papers were reviewed this morning, the Nation newspaper and the Vanguard, carry similar stories.
Yeah.
The major one, the resignation of former IGP Egbetokun.
Yeah, you know, the resignation of Egbetokun, I think it is actually long overdue, because this is the man that actually attained the age of 2024. But the president, they had to review the Police Act, and that kept him. I know this actually raised a lot of uproar in the Police Service Commission and, of course, the police force. But it was, I don't know how to put it, but I feel to some police officer, it was finally time for him to pack out. And of course, stepping in is AIG Tunji Disu. And you know what that definitely means. When AIG take over as the Inspector General of Police, all the DIGs retire. And of course, that is what a lot of these DIGs were trying to fight when Betokun tenure expired. And that is the first for you. And of course, we just hope that this is in lieu of the 2027 security pact that the presidency want to try to bring in. And for Tunji Disu is a gentleman police officer that I had opportunity of knowing him while in Lagos State. Then he was the commander in charge of the RROS, the Rapid Response Squad in Lagos State. And of course, he actually brought sanity to that police department in Lagos State. And because prior to that, the RRS were stationed in major places in Lagos for rapid response. In case of any attack, they go there first. And so he brought sanity to it, try as much as possible to give the officers there the necessary morale. And of course, before his appointment, he was also he was the one in charge of the force criminal investigation department at the force headquarters. So stepping in, like I always say, Lagos and Delta State, they have something similar. Lagos State harbors almost every person from all walks of life. Because Delta State harbors all the ethnicity in it. So for somebody that has been in Lagos State, taking over as the new Inspector General of Police, I would believe that a better day is ahead for the Nigeria Police Force, especially in the security of lives and property. Don't forget that last year the president ordered that every police officer should be withdrawn from VIPs, and of course this is going to actually, him coming in now is going to actually build on that and see how we could use the police more in securing lives and property before we bring in the army and other sister security agencies. So I wish him a very good one, and of course hoping that he actually live up to expectation and take welfare of police officers as one of his priority.
All right, a quick look at an abridged version of Tunji Disu's profile. It says Tunji Disu is the newly appointed acting Inspector General of Police, IGP of Nigeria, succeeding Kayode Egbetokun. Tunji Disu was appointed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on February 24, just yesterday. Yeah. Yes, Disu is a seasoned police officer with over 3 decades of service, known for his expertise in intelligence-led operations. Right? Known for his expertise in intelligence-led operations, tactical field command, and community-oriented policing. So this corroborates what you just said, that with him emerging as the new IGP, there will be some kind of reforms introduced into the police force that makes it more efficient in the fight against in securing lives and property of Nigerians. Well, we wish him well. We look forward to a beautiful Nigeria, a better Nigeria police force.
Now, I forgot to add that then he was also a black belt holder in karate. Probably he might have stepped up now. So, you know, so for someone like that,
so it's good news for one person, for one police officer, but it's bad news for the others because they all will have to retire. At that level, the DIGs will have to retire. So what's next for them? So these are some of the ones that will be pushed into the society without jobs at the moment in Nigeria's economy. Well, let's move on to our next story. Let's hear
our next story here, which is making headline in most of the dailies today, talking about the escaped assassination in Benin. Can you just brush through that?
When that story flashed in the social media yesterday, I wasn't surprised. Why? Because don't forget that there was a time Peter Obi, last year precisely, he was warned by the Edo State governor that he's anytime he wants to come to the state, he must be aware, and of course that is life. Yes, take permission. That he cannot guarantee his safety. And of course, this is really a very bad line, and of course, especially ahead of 2027, and with the just concluded congresses of the All Progressives Congress. I think this is not time to begin to play politics of dirty games, because if lives are being threatened at this moment, then when we're not up to when the year is just barely February, it means by the time we get to October, November, December, we might be seeing bodies lying on the streets. And this is not politics. I don't think it's politics. This is totally not politics. It is unacceptable. I've never seen a situation whereby someone say, I don't want to align with this party, I want to align with this party. And
it becomes a problem.
This incident occurs after the movement of the then Labour Party governorship candidate in the Edo State election defected to the African Democratic Congress yesterday, ADC. It was after that event that this actually played out. I wouldn't like Edo State to begin to toe that line of violence ahead of the 2027 general election, because if they do, it's going to bring a bad, it's going to paint a bad image of Nigeria. Don't forget that recently the United States of America set up a committee to monitor, you even read it in your headlines, and of course these are what we are. We don't need to begin to draw much attention to ourselves. And if we say elections should be free and fair, why will you start attacking people? Let them go to the field.
Okay, so Henry, some persons might want to say that this is from the opposition, maybe because this is a political period, But what if these are just hijackers? What if? Because I've been opportune to stay in Benin, and I know what violence looks like in Benin. So what if this has nothing to do with party, just might be some mischievous miscreants trying to be mischievous?
Well, behind
now you ask, who are the mischievous miscreants?
Exactly, because
who are they really? Yes,
because there is no smoke with
you and I
fire.
can actually travel to Benin City and nothing happens.
Nothing will happen.
Then when it becomes a political opponent, a political figure, you now can actually trace the
where
roots.
it's coming from.
Yes, you can trace the
for
roots
a
of
governor
that
of a state
attack.
for a governor of a state to say
He
your
said
security is not guaranteed anytime you come to Benin.
And this is the first visit after that threat.
Exactly.
That was a threat.
So
open
you
threat.
see, all these point towards that. And like I keep saying, if you are loyal to somebody, it doesn't mean that you have to start killing or probably threatening people's life to show your loyalty. Your loyalty should be shown in what you can do to help the person. We've all known that the governor of Edo State has always sing high praises of Tinubu. There was a time he even ordered all the local government chairmen to ensure that they erect a billboard of President Bola Tinubu. So you see, when this happened, they said when the owl cries in the night and in the morning the child died, then definitely you know where you should be pointing your fingers to.
It's all right. Let's look at this headline from the Vanguard newspaper. Phone tapping charge. GSS can't try me over casual remarks on television. El Rufai tells court seeks 2 billion naira damage.
You know this. I envisage this imbroglio between Erufai and of course the federal government. For somebody like Erufai that has been in the corridor of power and of course with a lot of power to himself,
and influence.
Influence as a former governor of Kaduna State. We are going to envisage a showdown, because Erufai is someone that is broadly read. I always categorize him alongside the Emir of Kano. And of course, we are seeing what is going on. For him to, we've seen even more dangerous words from political office holders. The question is, have they been charged? So when we are playing politics of vendetta in Nigeria, we should be very, very mindful, because the whole world is watching. Erufai made that statement during, just like he said, during a live program. And of course, for somebody who fell out of the way with President Bola Tinubu, you know, he is actually bittered. And of course, he I would say he's one of the persons that is going about to see that they try as much as possible to make sure that the president doesn't return back to power, and of course the alliance with the African Democratic Congress (ADC). So let the court let the court be the judge this time around, because he still remains a suspect. But the question is, we saw firstly it was DSS, then ICPC, and all these are coming up. The question is, these agencies, is it that they do selective prosecution? Let people, if you want to prosecute, let it be open for you to begin to do all this. We are creating, we are drawing attention from the international world, and tomorrow you will say that the president of America is he wants to lord over Nigeria, because you went and say you need democracy, and of course you are not practicing it in the right way. So probably somebody will come and help you to practice it. The other day we saw that some American security personnel are already in Nigeria. So when we begin to do this, we are inviting more external body into our country, and before we know, we might not be able to curtail the fire we are trying to set. So let the judiciary do the right thing. Let them explain what it means, if that is a sedition or a libel. Then if it's sedition or libel, or probably threats to security, let it be explained, and of course let the courts be the judge.
All right, Henry, on the Vanguard newspaper, this one says, Tinubu to opposition, elections not conducted on social media.
Sure.
We can agree that that's a very big statement there. And he goes ahead to explain, that our economy, in his words, our economy is picking up. Major investment decisions across Africa increasingly favoring Nigerians. That reflects renewed confidence in our direction.
Yeah, if you recall, last week, Nigeria, Niger, and Algeria signed a pact, a gas line pact, that will allow the flow, Burkina Faso rather, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, and Algeria signed a gas line pact that will allow gas flow from Burkina Faso through Nigeria Sea. Fine. We may not be, the only problem I'm having here is, when you have a long-term plan, there should be a medium-term plan, and of course a short-term plan. To me, what I see President Bola Tinubu doing is a long-term plan. So we are not feeling the impact immediately, but as time goes on, probably years to come, we might begin to feel
Years to come.
You're part of that school of thought.
No, yes to come.
How do we breathe from that to there?
Yes to come.
If you say yes to
But I want him to look at the short-term plans, so that Nigerians, just like what you say, the poor
short-term measures, really,
breathe,
yes, that will cushion the effects of this.
All this.
Yes.
So, like what he said, election is not won on social media.
Yeah.
We've seen a situation whereby a lot of persons, they do election campaign on social media, but they don't have permanent voters card. They don't go to vote.
You need on your words.
They just sit and be tweeting, they go to Twitter, pick a picture, report from here. We are doing report. What have you done? Have you voted? Have you done?
The first thing, have you even collected your PVC?
Exactly. Have you done any voter sensitization? You call yourself a civil rights activist, a blogger. Have you been able to sensitize people on how to go about voting? Have you been able to sensitize them on the danger of vote buying and vote selling? Rather, you are there just tweeting
and causing tension.
Yes. They just sent me results now from so polling unit. Be aware. Were you there?
Yes.
So he's right when he said elections are not won on the social media. And when you look at the Nigeria electoral process, which is the secret ballot system, you can go in there and just thumbprint, and you come out and say all the way, this candidate all the way. But within it was not that candidate. But because you said it, a lot of persons will say, okay, is that he voted for the candidate? But that is not it, because of our secret ballot system. If it was the open ballot system where everybody will just queue behind it and they do the head count, then it's very. So I will keep advising Nigeria that elections are not won on social
media.
Go and get
just
your
like
PVC.
the president has
Yes,
said.
go and get your PVC.
Exactly.
Be part of the process. Let us forget this common cliche that my vote will not count. Vote and see if your
first,
vote will not
yes,
count.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. Lastly, from the Vanguard newspaper is this headline: U.S. Congress recommends measures to end Christian persecution in Nigeria. It's on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. Okay, let's just read a bit of the story. Let's see. Christian persecution in Nigeria. U.S. Congress takes measures to end Christian persecution in Nigeria. Okay, so the story has it that the United States Congress is taking steps to address the persecution of Christians in Nigeria. A recent report by the House Appropriations Committee and the House Foreign Affairs Committee describes Nigeria as the deadliest place in the world to be a Christian and recommends measures to combat the violence. These measures include bilateral security agreements, sanctions and visa bans, technical support, repeal of Sharia laws. All right, Henry, let's look at these one after the other. Yes, so is the U.S. Congress concerned for what is happening in Nigeria?
Exactly
yes.
what I was trying to say.
And just yesterday, I read a post about Pakistan asking to come and assist Nigeria. And Nigerians are reacting. Why are we reacting? We are in a country where we've almost become helpless.
Yes.
Anyway, let's talk about the U.S. Congress measures.
U.S. have seen this, and of course, they've actually, not only U.S., a lot of, even Israel also have talked about this, that they feel it's high time they come and assist Nigeria. And these are happening because for a country where we have a constitution, the constitution, then we also have other laws like the Sharia law. In the north, the Sharia law, they feel it supersedes the constitution.
Right.
But in the Nigerian constitution, it is stated clearly that the constitution supersedes every other constitution or law. But in the north, it's not respected. So you see, we are seeing contradictory clashes here between the Nigerian law and the Sharia law. Now, they say there is freedom of expression, but you go to some places in the north, they restrict the Christians. But when you come to up south, you see them with
okay, so that's what the U.S. Congress is saying, that the repeal of Sharia law, repeal of Sharia and blasphemy laws in Nigeria, in northern states.
You cannot forget what happened to that young promising lady, Deborah, who was murdered just because he said he doesn't want to belong to that. They posted something and he refused to be part of it. So we have to look at our laws and, of course, make the law to supersede every other law. So now US is the one helping us, and definitely they are going to draft it for us. And when they draft it for us, we will have nothing than to abide by it, because and I believe also one of the measures they also said is a visa ban. You know, definitely a lot
has been happening now. Yes, some of their visas have been banned, right? They can't travel anymore.
I believe,
so we all are here.
The freezing of their accounts. So definitely these measures, if the U.S. Congress actually put it, finally pass it, we are going to see that these people will be forced to actually obey this rule, and it's so unfortunate that
Henry, I'm in love on social media.
Okay.
Yeah, so I hear things from social media. So persons will ask, US helping us is at what cost exactly?
That is the problem. A lot of Nigerians say the first time they said they are going to assist Nigeria, a lot of persons were saying, in fact, they were selling it to Nigeria that they are going after our oil. But let me tell you.
Yes, and some other persons have said if they are actually planning to come after our oil, let them take it, because the ordinary Nigerians have not been feeling the impact of the oil in Nigeria. So if that is the issue, let them come. So long as we are secured in Nigeria, right? They can take
the latest oil indices that was released by OPEC showed that Nigeria is even unable to meet up to its production.
So you can imagine.
So it's not. Let us not think about that. What the United States is trying to look at is terrorism, and of course, this terrorist group, they look for volatile places to to use
strike.
as their launch pad. Now, when they allow them to reign here in Nigeria, it could affect other smaller countries around Africa. And before you see, if they can capture these places, then you see that these terror groups begin to control places. We are seeing what is happening in Afghanistan, and today they are all crying. And of course, recently Iran saw the effect, the negative effect of a terrorist group, and of course they took to the streets to protest until their leader Ali Khamenei had to step down. So you see, the US is not actually after your oil, because if you think it's after your oil, they've done that several years ago. They've done that.
So yes, the message should be, Nigerians shouldn't be sentimental about what is
you shouldn't be sentimental about this, but we should be very, very conscious of our lives and property. Okay, if you can't live to see or witness the dividends of the oil, of what essence are you living for?
Exactly. Hence that school of thought we say, let them come. If it's the oil they want, let them come.
Let them come. It's
all good.
There is peace.
Okay, we'll just another look at some of the papers we still have left. The Nigerian Tribune is up next. Let's quickly review headlines in the Nigerian Tribune. All right, the screaming headline here: Egbetokun resigns. Tunji Disu is acting IGP. 8 DIGs may go. This is the painful part of this, right?
So painful.
8 of them may go. They are putting it very softly or mildly here. All right, that story is on page 3. Please get it. And on page 4, federal government files fresh charges against Ozekome. All right. Page 14, Bayelsa Assembly clears Duri's chief of staff as deputy governor. 28, fire destroyed NIMET equipment at MMIA terminal. All right. From the top strip of the Nigerian Tribune, page 2, federal government reaffirms stand on religious freedom as U.S. panel recommends repeal of Sharia blasphemy laws in Nigeria. Page 3 has the story, CBN's interest rates cut signals credit expansion, economic growth. That statement is credited to experts. And then we have on page 2 also, El-Rufai asked court to quash DSS charges against him. Atiku warns over his ill health. Why we are yet to charge him to court, says EFCC. Okay. On page 10, suspected thugs attack Edo ADC Secretariat or Digie Oyegun's residence minutes after Akpata's defection. The writers, ex-APC national chairman links attack to threat on Obi. Edo APC denies involvement. Well, these are the stories we are tracking from the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, with me here is the Punch newspaper, and the first screaming headline here says Tinubu picks Disu for pre-2027 security boosts DIGs to retire, and has quite a number of riders to that story. First rider here says IGP Egbetokun summoned to Villa, resigns over family issues. Another rider there says Disu's era begins as Mba, 19 DIGs, AIGs face retirement. And the last rider here says 2027 polls in sight as new IG leads Tinubu's new anti-banditry war. At the top strip there we have this one that says all revenue shake-up, states back Tinubu's executive order, and that's on page 23. Another story here says Diri's COS cleared as Bayelsa devs government. Another story here says recapitalization, banks raise 4 trillion naira ahead of March deadline. At the bottom strip here, this one says Ogun woman takes her life after broken engagement. So sad, over a man. All right, this and many more on the Punch newspaper. Do grab it.
Yes, we're going to react to one of the headlines. Yes,
to that of the CBN, of course, the capitalization.
Yes,
this is actually
that headline is trending in almost all the papers.
It's a very good one for the Nigeria banking sector, because with this, banks can now lend to businesses, and of course with this it means that the banking sector is getting stronger and stronger, and this is what we've been expecting, because when your financial sector is stable, there is bound to be development. And of course we've seen how the dollar have been floated, and of course is now staggering within 1,400, 1,445, and of course it hasn't gone back to that 1,800 or 1,500 or 700, because the banking sector now is now receiving the necessary attention. We do hope that probably we see more better day in our banking sector, and of course the Central Bank of Nigeria under Yemi Cardoso, they actually trying to stabilize the banking sector. We hope for more better days for the Nigerian banking sector.
All right, Harry, on the Nigerian Tribune, this story here really caught my attention. It says El-Rufai asks courts to squash DSS charges against him. And
Article wants,
Article wants,
exactly.
wants over his ill health. Another writer says, why we are yet to charge him to court. This is by EFCC.
Exactly.
Now, I'm really worried, because in Nigeria, when our leaders are doing things, they are in strong health.
Yeah.
But the moment they are caught,
they are in severe pains.
Exactly. A few years ago, we saw the serious drama that Dilo Melaye, acted. And it has been a trend in Nigeria. I'm not saying that
former CBN governor. The case of that one is on one hand. As soon as he was charged, he became very ill. So this trajectory.
Now they are looking at it from the political perspective, and just like what I say, if you are trying, let it be fair and clear. We saw how the video emerged, where it right there from the airport, where even he had to El-Rufai had to say that, they told you to stop me, and he said nobody can stop me, and that was how he left. Now
he was in health then.
Yes, he was in good health then, but
no,
now
but he's not the one crying over e-health. Is Article warning the
yes,
government
of course,
of the man's e-health. At that age, really, what do you expect?
If he hadn't told Atiku that having health challenges,
how would he know?
Atiku wouldn't have known. But the truth is this: whenever they are in the nets, they always use e-health as a way of escaping.
But most times that hasn't exonerated them.
Yeah, but it's because we have failed to also make the correctional centers functional. It's crowded, and of course, though we have a section for VIPs where they have, it's just that they are constrained, but they have a section for them, and so it goes to tell you that that place you feel that there is no need for us to make it work well, you might be there one day. We've seen why are they always running away for because there was also a story I saw that the money spent on medical health pilgrimage, I would say medical health pilgrimage, is becoming alarming because they fail to make the system work. Right now, he is right there in that same place they failed to put in order. They said they should try as much as possible to decongest all the correctional centers. It means the judiciary should deliver judgment and, of course, stop delaying cases. We have a lot of persons in the correctional centers who have not even gone to court. And why? Because they don't belong to the bourgeois. But the bourgeois, their cases is being called upon every now and then. This is where he has found himself. I think here I would say that let him stay there. They have doctors there. Let the doctors treat him there.
Okay, this story on Egbetokun's resignation and Tunji's appointment is quite worrisome. The Nigerian Tribune, the other part of it is quite worrisome. The Nigerian Tribune captions it this way: Egbetokun resigns, Tunji Disu is acting IGP. 8 DIGs may go. That's from the Nigerian Tribune that we just reviewed now. Then on the Punch newspaper, Tinubu picks Disu for pre-2023. The new era begins as Mba 19 DIGs, AIGs face retirement. Yes, if we have 19 whole DIGs, AIGs to retire, where is this stemming from? Is this part of the police reform, or what really is the issue behind once one is appointed, the rest retire? Imagine retiring 19 of them at that rank.
Okay, let me bring it home straight. It's like, in the other sister security agency, you cannot you cannot see your subordinate and of course give him compliments.
Okay.
Yes, the AIG rank is higher than the DIG rank is higher than the AIG rank. So the DIG cannot, since he takes over, he automatically becomes the boss. So a DIG cannot see and say, "Sure, sir." He can't do that. So that is why they have to step down. And of course, with that also, it means if they remain there, there could be some clashes. An AIG cannot go and meet his DIG and say, "I want you to carry out this operation."
And the best thing is to just
Yes,
retire them.
now the point the salient point you see there is Frank Mba and others. What it simply means is Frank Mba got there before Disu.
Okay.
So this is the part that I believe ethnicism comes to play. The president is from the southwest. Disu is from the southwest. The president is from the southwest. Kayode Egbeteko is from the southwest. So this comes to play that I prefer my own person who I know, who I trust to be there, rather than somebody who merits seats,
exactly.
who is
deserving
there,
of that position at that time. Yes.
To be there. That is the salient point you're seeing.
Exactly.
So that's a salient point there.
Okay, so let's quickly review the two other papers we have this morning. The Guardian, there are three, right? The Guardian, the New Telegraph, and the Daily Trust. Yes, from the Daily Trust, these are the headlines that are trending. Okay, the Guardian is up there. Let's quickly look at the Guardian newspaper. The screaming headline on the Guardian newspaper this morning: US escalates pressure on Nigeria as AFRICOM firms up hub in Ghana. US escalates pressure on Nigeria as AFRICOM firms up hub in Nigeria. That story in Ghana, thank you. That story you'll find on page 6. All right, the photos speak there of Tinubu, Donald Trump, El Rufai, and this guy on military uniform. Well, we'll get the details, right? Is that Disu? Could that be Disu?
No, that's not Disu.
It's too early to have Disu in this kind of photo
That's
speak.
the chief of army staff.
Okay, so get a copy of the Guardian newspaper and peruse through the stories that appeal to you. On page 3, we have INEC dismisses claims of result manipulation in FCT polls. All right, page 15, more businesses go digital as .ng sees new 15,216 entries. On page 3, Pengasson faults inflation yardstick, insists on worsening poverty. All right, page 30, ADC accord others no deregistration fate March 24. On page 5, we have federal government dragged to ECOWAS court over tax law alterations. Okay, and then on page 5 also, we have Dangote Refinery to supply 65 million liters of PMS daily. Page 29 has armed thugs attack Obi Oyegun, ADC members in Edo. And lastly, page 6 has the story, Disu steps in as 23rd IGP, reignites tenure controversy, mass exit of senior officers. These are the stories we're tracking from the Guardian newspaper.
All right, with me here is the New Telegraph newspaper. And first, the bold headline that's also on some other daily says, DIGs, senior AIGs to go as Tinubu accepts Igbetokun's resignation, names Tunji Disu as acting IGP. That's on page 48 and page 6 of the New Telegraph newspaper. At the top of the newspaper here, we have gunmen attack Obi Oyegun, ADC chiefs in Edo. Another story here says, Rivers, we have made significant strides in health, says Fubara. And that's on page 2 and 6 of the New Telegraph newspaper. Another story here says, executive order direct attack on PRA threatens oil industry's stability. And this by Pengerson. And from Trump, this one says, silent genocide. Cuba accuses US of economic... Okay, I'm sorry, I can't see that clearly. Let's move to another story. And this story here says, APC leaders, governors recommit to advancing Tinubu's renewed agenda. And that story here says, Wike stands expelled, can't speak for PDP. This is by Bode George, and that's on page 4. You can get the New Telegraph newspaper to get more information on the stories.
Yes, then lastly we have the Daily Trust. The Daily Trust, the stories are same like in other papers this morning. The major one we'll just look at, US push to scrap Sharia sparks outrage. US push to scrap Sharia sparks outrage. These are more stories you will find on the Daily Trust and all of the papers we looked at this morning. Well, Henry, your last word as we wrap up paper review.
Yeah, my last word is actually on this US and
Congress measures, yes.
And of course, the AFRICOM is the United States Military Command, African Command, and of course, when US are moving closer like this, they are really prepared for something else. So if they use Ghana as they could use Ghana as a launch pad to better monitor Nigeria, and from there anything could happen. So for me, I think it is best that the federal government try as much as possible to look at these loopholes in our constitution, and try as much as possible to do a constitutional review. There is need for us to review our constitution and let it align with best practices. That is my final summation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
All right, we'll wrap up paper review here on Morning Ride Wednesday's edition. Coming up shortly is our next interview segment right here. The Continuous Voter Registration Exercise, CVR, the need for all Nigerians to pick up their permanent voter cards. Good morning to you.
In the last 2.5 years, Governor Sheriff has bagged major national recognitions, an affirmation of what many has described as a result-driven administration. In one word, describe Governor Sheriff Oborowori's leadership style.
Result-oriented,
people-centered,
visionary leader,
compassionate to his people.
it's all-encompassing
Performance. Outstanding gentleman and administrator, the #1 performing governor in the country.
This year, the momentum continues. On the 12th of February, 2026, the Delta State Governor yet again stepped into national spotlight, receiving the prestigious Leadership Award for Governor of the Year. And barely 24 hours later, we're at the commercial capital of the nation, where the very scholarly editors of New Telegraph have been critically analyzed the impact of the Oborowori administration have conferred on him overall Governor of the Year.
My message to the people of Delta that they should continue to give us that support that they have been giving us.
There you have it. Governor Sheriff is working in oil-rich South Delta State, but the positive sound effect of his policies reverberate not only in the South, but in the East, in the West, and far North. Until next time, I remain Kokome Oko. Bye.
Me, baby. She said she knows me, I'm Mr. AJ. I told her I can be a bobo. She said she wants to be my baby. I'm like, oh, yeah. Tell me, ain't broke me. Depends how I'm feeling at the time of the day. Said she want roll, remember. She don't come for the same, She gaslight, she knows what's bedtime. Me and AJ locked in as brother. Any instrumental is mental.
The Modern Technical College, Omadino, that we are commissioning today, will present a flagship investment in technical education by this administration.
How far where you want to How far where you want to go? We enter, no safe in my power, I special. Take you where you never been before. I sound I'm precise, we tell our we know the tire, we be like a She said she knows me.
Like I tell you, very soon, electricity for Delta State, it will be one of the best for Nigeria.